Most people hear commercial real estate and think office buildings, warehouses, or retail strip centers, but there's an entire sector of this market that operates by completely different rules, holds up better in downturns, and is quietly one of the most active areas of CRE in Texas right now: medical real estate. And today, we're breaking it down. My name is Andy A. Ordonez, commercial real estate advisor with Phelps Frias Commercial, and I cover the entire state of Texas, and medical commercial real estate is one of my core specialties. Let's get into it. Before I give you the numbers, you need to understand why medical real estate doesn't behave like the rest of the market. Healthcare is a non-negotiable demand. People don't stop needing doctors, dentists, or specialists because the economy slows down. That inelastic demand is exactly why medical office buildings have maintained a national occupancy rate of about 92.7% as of mid-2025, and while traditional office vacancy across the country is sitting at around roughly 18%. That's not a small gap, that's a completely different asset class. And here's the shift that's been driving a lot of this activity. Healthcare is moving out of hospitals and into the community. Hospital admissions fell roughly about 10% over the past decade, while outpatient visits have now jumped about 13%. And that means providers need more accessible street-level space in the markets where their patients actually live. And that's where medical retail comes in as well. Medical retail is not a trend, it's a structural shift. And Texas is one of the best examples in the entire country. It's completely different than many other states with this large of a population. Walk through any well-located shopping center in Houston, Dallas, Austin, or San Antonio right now, and you'll see urgent care clinics, dental offices, orthodontists, physical therapists, dermatologists, and optometrists. These are medical users choosing retail locations deliberately because of one thing: visibility. High traffic, rooftop counts, daytime population. That's what drives a healthy patient volume for a clinic. And the retail fundamentals in Texas right now are exceptional. DFW retail vacancy is sitting under 5%, and Houston is about 5.7%. Austin and San Antonio are even tighter, around 3 to 5% range. I was just there last week. Across the board, supply is limited and demand is not slowing down. What that means for a medical tenant looking at retail space is this: your options are shrinking and your leverage at the negotiating table is shrinking with them. The truth is this: the market is not waiting for you to make a decision. Now let's talk about medical office, because this is where the institutional capital is paying attention. Houston is the #1 market in the entire country right now for medical office construction. There is about 1.3 million square feet currently under construction, which is up from the 1.1 million square feet year over year. And despite that construction pipeline, vacancy has tightened around 10.9%, and that's the lowest since 2019. And that's not a soft market by any means. That's a market where demand is outpacing supply, even with the heaviest construction pipeline in the nation. You might be asking yourself, well, why is that? The truth is that the Texas Medical Center ecosystem is a big part of that story, with expansions such as MD Anderson, which we have a project right in front of that. Phase 1 is being completed in 2029. You have projects like Methodist, Kelsey-Seybold, and Memorial Hermann, all pushing demand where beyond that main campus that they have already established. Houston is now recording $269 million in medical office building sales volume as of 2025, with an average cap rate of about 5.8%. So that compression also helps investors as well in comparison to other asset classes. So look, for context, that is a premium price point, and investors are paying up because they trust the long-term fundamentals here, okay? And the other cities tell a very similar story. San Antonio, vacancy there is tightened to about 11.8% as of Q4 of 2025, down from its peaks of 13% around 2023. And asking rents have climbed to about $30 a square foot. For that to be the average, that's pretty unreal, and that's really good for an investor. Steady, consistent, and durable. I'm gonna say it again: steady, consistent, and durable. And that's why there's a lot of demand, okay? So what does this actually mean for you? Look, if you're a healthcare provider, a physician, a dentist, or an investor looking at the sector, there's a few things. If you're a medical provider who is in traditional office and in a traditional office building to this day, or a poorly located space, your real estate is actually working against you. Location in this sector is a clinical decision as much as a financial one, okay? Also very critical, not just clinical, critical. And where you are determines who can find you, okay? You need to understand that. Second, if you're a medical tenant coming up for a lease renewal in the next 12 to 18 months, you need to start that conversation now. What are you waiting for? You are losing negotiating power the longer you wait and the closer you are to your renewal, okay? You need to understand that. And if you need some guidance, that's why we're here, okay? Second, if you're a medical tenant coming up for a lease renewal in the next 12 to 18 months, you need to start that conversation right now. Tight vacancy across both retail and office product means landlords are not in a desperate position to give you anything. The time to negotiate is before the clock runs out, not after. What are you waiting for? Okay, and that's why Phelps and Frias and someone like myself are here to assist you through that process, because I know it can be an intimidating one. Okay. Third, if you're an investor and you haven't seriously looked at medical commercial real estate as part of your portfolio, the data is telling you something. Okay, healthcare employment is growing at 2.8% annually, while total non-farm job growth has slowed to under 1%. Look at the numbers, everyone, okay? The tenants in this sector are stable. They stay long. Typically, a lease is about 10 years for a medical tenant, and they invest in their space in a way that general office tenants just don't, okay? So look, in closing, medical commercial real estate in Texas is not a niche anymore. It's one of the most active, most resilient, and most competitive sectors in this market. If you're a healthcare provider, a dentist, a physician, or an investor trying to understand this sector, this is what we do every day across all 4 major Texas markets. If you want to talk, reach out, book a strategy call right here in the link within the description. And if you found this useful, subscribe. This has been Andy A. Ordonez and the State of the Texas Commercial Real Estate Market of May 2026. Until next time.